Want to know how to make friends in nursing school in 10 different ways? Then you should stay tuned. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Nurse on the Go podcast. In today's episode, I wanted to dedicate it to something we've probably all experienced. I'm sure by now we're probably experts, or some of us are just a little bit timid on making friends. In today's podcast, I'm not just gonna say how to make any friends, but this really does apply to making any friends in general, but typically for students, especially my nursing students out there. So today's podcast is all about how to make friends in nursing school. I listed all these different tips and tricks that have personally worked for me, and as a nursing student who's gone through this already, I've gone through many awkward stages where I didn't even want to approach anyone. I was a bit afraid, but now at this point, I know all the little tips and tricks that I want to share with you guys so that you guys can make so many friends and have a great time during your nursing school journey. The first tip I have for you all is way before making any friends, you must be open to the idea. So just don't approach a situation being fearful or that they might reject you. 99.9% of the cases when you're a student, they're feeling the exact same way. So there's no way that they'll reject you. And another thing I want to point out is if you don't make a friend or it doesn't go past just that first chat in your class or your lab, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. Everyone makes friends in the beginning of their nursing school journey and makes new friends as well. And you might spend more time with one friend than the other, or you just lose connection with that other friend. And that's so okay. I want to let you know that that's perfectly fine. I just want you to know to be yourself, be genuine. Don't make yourself someone else that you're not just to make a friend. It's not worth it. I promise you, during nursing school, your friends will see who you really are in the sense that you're going to go through emotional roller coasters. They're going to see you when you're sad, when you get a bad grade. They're going to see when you probably cry. They're going to see you when you're excited, happy. They're going to see you in such different emotions. So just be honest with them and with yourself. And that's a great way to make friends. Be genuine, be open, don't be closed off. Because really, people are not going to think that you want to make any friends if you're being very closed off. They're going to think that, since they're being closed off, maybe they don't want to make friends. So you definitely don't want to make that an idea in someone's head. Have good energy, release some good energy to those people. Look inviting, smile, eye contact, non-verbal communication, just little things like that will help you a lot. The second thing that you want to do is, before you make friends as well, you want to identify what kind of friends you want in your life. There's this saying that friends come at a specific time and place in your life, and I believe that saying is true because you definitely will have friends come and go throughout your life. Some people are just fit for a certain time in your life, and that's great too. But I want you to identify what kind of friends you want. So in this sense, I mean, do you want someone who shares similar hobbies? Are you looking for specific personality traits, like someone who's funny, caring, does good in school? You want to make sure you understand what kind of friends you want before you just become friends with everyone, because you'll have a confusing time with yourself when you may start making yourself someone who you're not just to please the other friend or not look like you're changing up. But you definitely want to identify what kind of friends you want before making any friends. Okay, so the third tip that I have that really worked so well for me, this is for all my nursing students who haven't gone to their first year yet, but if your school provides something like Frosh Week or just events in general before you start school or the first week of school, I highly, highly, highly recommend that you join them, just because I made so many friends during that week that they were in similar classes. And at that point, I understand you're going to be making friends with anyone that you can make friends with, and that's what I did. And then slowly, as nursing school goes on, you're going to see who shares similar traits, because you don't really see who someone really is at first glance. You're just going to an event together, a party or whatever. You just want to, at that first interaction, make as many friends as you want. Get in the habit of introducing yourself, asking questions, making yourself open and inviting to other people. We had something in my school called Frosh. So Frosh is just a week full of events for you and other classmates that share the same program as you. So it's a great way to make so many friends And it's a great way to work on those skills. And by doing that, when you go to class, like that first week of school and you're so nervous, like I won't make any friends, you'll see so many familiar faces. I'm not joking. I went to Frosh and like the first class I went to, I saw so many familiar faces and it was just so great. I was like, wow, I'm so glad I went to Frosh. I wasn't even gonna go, but my family were like, you should go try it out. And I'm so thankful that they said that because now I don't regret it at all. It made so many friends and then I met mutual friends of other people. And that's why events are such a great way to network yourself and meet new people. Number 4 is something else that I've done myself and been a part of. And it's joining online pages that you and your classmates share on Facebook or Instagram, whatever you guys do. They typically have these little pages where you will join and other people of your year in same program will join. And like some people would share their schedules and be like, who shares the same class with me? And they would get so many other messages from other people saying, I do. And it's a great way to introduce yourself, talk to new people, share other classes with people. It makes it a lot easier. So put yourself out there. Don't be afraid. Tip number 5 is to introduce yourself to them in class. So being in class is a great way to introduce yourself because at that point, you know that the person probably sitting next to you probably doesn't have any friends. The chances are very high. You're both entering your first year together or your third year or whatever year you're joining. It's your first time in that class. So everyone wants to make friends. So what you want to do is you can introduce yourself. You could be like, hey, my name is Jane Smith. Are you from here or are you from somewhere else? Or like, are you from the city over? Like, just ask them if they're from there. That's a great open-ended question. That's like another tip that I have for you inside tip number 5. And it's to ask questions, open-ended questions to be specific. If you ask any closed-ended questions like, were you early this morning? No. Were you early this morning? Yes. Like, it's just so yes or no, and it just ends the conversation, and like you don't learn anything about them, and it doesn't really show to the other person that you're interested, really. It's just the conversation will be dead right after. So you want to ask open-ended questions like, are you from here? Have you been in this class before? Do you know this prof? Like, those are just random questions that you can ask and just take it from there. Tip number 6 is during clinicals, class, and labs, you definitely want to start pairing up with someone who you don't know. Don't just pair up with the same person every time. You can definitely do this, like be partners with your friend every 2 weeks or be partners with your friend every month. That's okay, but don't be so clingy to each other because not only does that make others like get the impression that you're not open or willing or inviting to talk to other people, it just makes you appear a lot more closed off to potential friendships. So by making yourself look engaged and like, hey, do you want to be partners? Guys, one thing I learned in nursing school is that everyone is looking for a friend. Definitely that first year of nursing school, people are making new friends. And like, you'll find new friends in the randomest places, in lab, in clinicals, in class. But do you really want to say that you never had the opportunity to make many friends just because you were closed off? No. So you definitely want to pair up with new people and introduce yourself to whoever you can. It just makes you appear more open. I promise this will work. And who knows, maybe the person you end up pairing with has so many similar hobbies and interests and you get to know them better and they end up being your nursing bestie for the rest of your nursing school career. Tip number 7 is if you are someone who's a bit shy or doesn't want to meet people face to face for the first time, that's okay. I recommend following or making friends with them on Facebook or Instagram or any other social media platform. That's a great way to introduce yourself to someone and they'll see that your page says nursing and they'll be like, I'm in nursing too at the same school. And that's a great way you can like slide in their DMs, be like, hey, are you in so-and-so's class tomorrow? So that's a great way to introduce yourself to someone. You don't have to do it face-to-face, so it's not too awkward or anything if you're someone who doesn't prefer it. But yeah, that's a great tip that I have for you. Tip number 8 is such a great tip, and it's to make mutual friends through your current friends. So I'm going to try to explain what mutual friends are. Mutual friends are basically, let's say I have a friend named Sarah, and Sarah has a friend named Will. I don't know Will, but Sarah knows Will. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hang out with Sarah and Will, and there you go. Will now becomes my mutual friend. And that's because I'm introducing myself, I'm hanging out with them through my friends. So like if you're someone who's a bit uncomfortable making new friends all alone, you're going to have your friend with you there and you're networking at the same time. You're making new friends, you're meeting new people. And later on, you never know when you're at a clinical and you see Will there there you go, you have a friend. So like mutual friends is such a great thing to have in nursing school. Like you'll definitely have a lot of mutual friends and acquaintances and friends in general, but you'll definitely have a closer knit of friends. That tends to happen in nursing school. What I notice a lot is people will be friends with everyone. Like you will be friends with Jessica in your class. You will be friends with Erica in your class. Everyone is friends. But the thing is, you will definitely have your closer knit of friends or even just one best friend. Because to be honest, in nursing school, all you need is one best friend. Because they're going to be there with you when you are upset, crying, good grade, bad grade, failed an exam, everything. From my experience, I recommend picking a few people who you trust and then also having your other friends in nursing school. Just because you don't want to have too many friends and make things complicated, I just feel it's better off if you have a few best friends who you trust 1000%. And then, of course, you want to have other friends who you're networking, you're making new friends, you seem inviting, and you have other classmates who you can talk to when you're just in a class and your friend's not there. And you can talk to them because you're friends with them too. Tip number 9 is also an amazing tip, and it's to join clubs. Clubs are a great way to make new friends who share similar interests, because clearly both of you are there because you're interested in the club or the subject that they're going to be going over. So by joining clubs, you already have something in common. So this way, you both automatically have something in common. So you can ask them an open-ended question and carry on the conversation naturally because you're interested in the subject as well. It's just a great way to make new friends. You share similar interests, and I highly recommend joining clubs in your nursing school journey. Tip number 10 is to share your social media with one another after you've made that initial contact so that you guys can stay in touch and further your friendship online. So whenever I make a new friend, I'm always like, hey, do you have a Snapchat? Do you have an Instagram? Do you have a Facebook? It's a great way to further your friendship. You don't have to meet in person. And sometimes what I notice is you'll make a friend and they just happen to not be your friend because you're both not putting the effort in and you just never see them again. But when you have their social media, you're seeing a bit of their life. You can like their posts, become closer friends in multiple different ways. So I highly recommend, don't just end a conversation with someone you just met and walk away or leave. You definitely want to ask for their social media or their contact information. Those are the 10 tips I have for all of you to make friends in nursing school or in general if you're a student. They are great ways so that you can make yourself be more open and inviting to making new friends. Promise, everyone is just as nervous as you are for your first day of classes or any day of classes. Everyone is always looking for a friend. I just wanted to let you guys know to be open, be genuine, don't be afraid, and just be yourself. Thank you all for tuning in to today's podcast. I appreciate you all so much. Don't forget to tune in at my Instagram at the Nurse on the Go podcast, where I post motivational posts and also educational posts for all my fellow nursing students and nurses. So thank you so much once again. Talk to you soon. The Nurse on the Go.